You have always been the one who puts everyone else's needs before your own. But have you ever stopped to wonder why? What if this wasn't just a habit, but a deeply ingrained pattern that's been shaped by something more than just personal choice? If you're someone who consistently prioritizes others over yourself, no matter how much it drains you, then keep watching, because we're about to explore what might be driving these behaviors and why it's time to rethink your role in relationships. In this video, we'll delve into the complex web of factors that can lead individuals to become the easy one, someone who consistently sacrifices their own needs for the sake of others. We'll examine how childhood experiences, particularly emotional neglect, can shape our attachment styles and influence our tendency to people-please. By understanding these underlying dynamics, we'll uncover the signs that may indicate you've been trained to be the easy one, rather than a strong, empowered individual. If you grew up in a household where emotions were consistently dismissed or minimized, you may have learned to prioritize others' feelings over your own. This can be a subtle yet powerful training ground for becoming the easy one. Think of it like being conditioned to always give in, even when it's not good for us. We might feel an overwhelming sense of responsibility for keeping the peace, even if it means sacrificing our own needs and desires. Imagine yourself as a child, constantly trying to avoid conflict or upset by appeasing others. You might have been told, "Be quiet, don't make a fuss," or just go along with what everyone else wants. These messages can become deeply ingrained, influencing how we navigate relationships and even our own sense of self-worth. As adults, this upbringing can manifest in people-pleasing behaviors, like constantly saying yes to commitments that drain us or overthinking conversations to avoid hurting others' feelings. But it's also a reminder that we have the power to rewire these patterns and develop healthier boundaries. So let's dive into the first sign: constant people-pleasing. Now you might be thinking, but isn't being easygoing a good thing? And in many cases, yes, it is. But when people-pleasing becomes an automatic response to everything and everyone, it can become a coping mechanism, a way of avoiding conflict or rejection, but also of avoiding feelings of worthiness. Think of it like a perpetual state of limbo, where you're always waiting for the other person's approval, never quite sure if your needs will be met. You see, when we grow up in environments where our needs aren't consistently met, or where rejection is a constant threat, something shifts inside us. We learn to adapt, but often at the expense of our own desires. It's like being taught how to dance on eggshells, always careful not to step too far out of line. But what happens when we grow up and want more? When we try to set boundaries or pursue our passions? That's when the self-sabotage kicks in, a defense mechanism that whispers it's not safe to be strong. It's not safe to be seen. I remember a client who always put others' needs before her own, until she realized she was exhausted and resentful. She'd been trained to be the easy one, never rocking the boat. But when she started saying no, setting boundaries, and asserting herself, she felt like she was walking on quicksand, every step uncertain, every decision fraught with anxiety. It's as if our minds are wired to protect us from the pain of rejection, but in doing so, we suffocate our potential. You see, high-functioning depression is like wearing a mask to cover up the vulnerability that lies beneath. It's often misunderstood as just being tough or resilient, but in reality it's a coping mechanism that prevents you from confronting the pain of your past. As we navigate these toxic relationships, we begin to internalize the message that being the easy one is not only desirable, but also necessary for maintaining peace. We start to prioritize avoiding conflict over asserting ourselves, fearing that our boundaries will be hurtful or damaging. This dynamic can be particularly insidious when it's fueled by codependency, where one person relies on the other for emotional validation and becomes overly invested in their partner's happiness. Imagine being a puzzle piece that's constantly being molded to fit someone else's needs. You lose your shape, your boundaries become blurred, and you start to feel like you're disappearing. This is what happens when we prioritize others' comfort over our own emotional well-being. As the weight of these relationships accumulates, we begin to internalize this pattern as a reflection of our worth. We start to believe that being the easy one is a sign of being a good person, rather than a coping mechanism for avoiding pain. So, we've identified some patterns that might have led us to become the easy one in our relationships or work environments. Recognizing these signs is the first step towards change, but it's not enough on its own. We need to understand why we're behaving this way and how it affects us. Think of self-awareness like peeling back layers of an onion. Each layer reveals more about ourselves. When I started working with clients who were struggling with anxiety, I realized that they often had a tendency to people-please and avoid conflict at all costs. It wasn't until we explored the underlying reasons for this behavior that they could begin to challenge it. For instance, one client of mine, Sarah, grew up in a household where avoiding conflict was prioritized above all else. As an adult, she found herself constantly sacrificing her own needs to maintain peace. But by recognizing and challenging these patterns, Sarah began to build resilience and develop a stronger sense of self. This is the power of self-awareness. It's not just about identifying our flaws, it's about understanding how we can grow from them. Now that you've started to uncover the ways in which you were trained to be the easy one, it's time to begin rewriting your story. This journey of self-discovery can be intense. Imagine a river that's been stagnant for years, finally starting to flow again. The water may be murky at first, but as it begins to move, new paths and landscapes emerge. Think back to the times when you felt most alive, most like yourself. What were you doing? Who were you with? These memories hold clues about what brings you joy and fulfillment. They're also a reminder that your worth isn't tied to being easy or pleasing others. As you continue on this journey, remember that it's okay to take things one step at a time. You don't have to do it alone either. Surround yourself with people who support and uplift you. And when the doubts creep in, as they inevitably will, be gentle with yourself. Acknowledge your fears, but don't let them define you. As we've explored these signs together, I want to leave you with a crucial reminder. You are not alone in this struggle. So many of us have been trained to prioritize others' needs over our own, to be the easy one instead of embracing our strength. Think about it like a garden. If you're constantly watering someone else's flowers, your own might wither away. But when we finally recognize these patterns and take steps to address them, something beautiful can bloom. Remember, it's okay to acknowledge the fears and doubts that have held you back for so long. In fact, it takes incredible courage to face them head-on. You don't have to do this alone. Seek out supportive people in your life, or consider reaching out to a therapist who can help guide you on this journey. The healing process won't be easy, but I promise you, it will be worth it. As we come to the end of this journey together, I want you to know that recognizing these signs is a testament to your strength, not weakness. It takes courage to acknowledge the ways in which we've been conditioned to put others first at our own expense. But here's the thing, you are not alone in this struggle. There are so many people who have walked this path before you, and they're still walking it alongside you. Remember that you have the power to rewrite your story, to choose a different narrative, one where you prioritize your own needs and desires. And when the darkness feels overwhelming, know that support is just around the corner, waiting for you to reach out.